What you're going to see next is kind of unprecedented in aviation. JetBlue 1060 is on final approach to 4 left at New York's JFK. They're going to go around. That's not unprecedented. What happens after that is...
JetBlue 1060, 9 left, 4 left.
JetBlue 1060, Kennedy Tower, continue.
So JetBlue 1060 now has been cleared for 4 left. They're told to continue, but that means they're on the final approach course. And now coming into New York's JFK, very busy airport, approach control is going to sequence everybody in, and they've got certain spacing that they have to have in between aircraft. And sometimes it gets a little tight. And let's see what happens to JetBlue here.
JetBlue 1060, wind 03016, gust 20, runway 4 left, clear to land.
4 left, clear to land, JetBlue 1060.
Now, one of the things that tower controllers will do in the United States that they won't do overseas is that they'll clear multiple airplanes to land. So this JetBlue might be number 2 or 3 for the runway. There's 2 other or 3 other airplanes in front of them. They'll clear JetBlue to land. When I go into London, I go into any of my overseas or European airports, they won't clear you to land until you're the last one for that runway. In other words, everybody's got to be taxied off. And sometimes it's at 300 or 400 feet away from the runway when I finally get that final clearance. But these guys have already been cleared to land. Let's see if they make it.
JetBlue 1060, reduce your final approach speed.
Final approach speed, 1060.
Now, did you hear the tone of her voice? She was saying that as fast as she could. So she's watching a compression probably take place where JetBlue is catching up with somebody, and she's saying basically, JetBlue, slow down. Okay, now JetBlue may be going the speed they're supposed to be going, but the airplane in front of them slowed down too early, or JetBlue might be going too fast and they caught up with the airplane in front of them. Hard to say.
JetBlue 1060, cancel your approach clearance, climb maintain 3000 runway heading.
I maintain 3000 runway heading, JetBlue 1060.
Okay, this is the first go around now. So obviously JetBlue got too close to the airplane in front of them. She says, climb runway heading to 3000. She's going to give JetBlue vectors to come around. You know, if this happens, it's not usual for this to happen, but it's no big deal. We're trained for this sort of thing. We'll go around. The first go around, no big deal. But if there's a second go around, okay.
And for JetBlue 1060, was that runway heading up to 3000?
Yes, JetBlue 1060, runway heading for now up to 3000.
Runway heading 3000, JetBlue 1060.
Why runway heading? They always clear out the airspace right off the end of the runway, usually up to about 3,000 feet for just about anybody. So if you want to get rid of somebody for a few minutes, runway heading to 3,000 while she thinks about where she's going to send them next.
JetBlue 1060, turn right heading 100.
Right, 100, JetBlue 1060.
All right, start a right turn and let's come back and do it again.
JetBlue 1060, you can contact me at approach on 135.9 for resequence.
135.9, JetBlue 1060.
Okay, so now JetBlue 1060 is lined up again, this time for 4 right instead of 4 left. No big deal. I've landed on 4 right 100 times at least. I was based in New York for a lot of years. So this is one of the primary runways coming in there. I've shot this approach. They do space the airplanes tightly together. But if everybody slows down at the appropriate gates where they're supposed to slow down, then it's fine. If somebody slows down too early, it causes an accordion effect and it crunches everybody behind you. You can do that, but boy, you get into trouble in a crowded airport like this if you do it.
Tower, JetBlue 1060, left 4 right.
JetBlue 1060, Kennedy Tower, flying heavy about 330, just under 6 miles ahead, course wing turbulence, wind 020 at 12, runway 4 right, clear to land.
4 right, clear to land, JetBlue 1060.
Clear to land, but there's other airplanes in front of them. There's a big one in front of them, by the way.
1060, reduce airspeed 1010 knots.
Did you hear how urgently he said that? All right, here we go again. It's the same kind of tone in the voice. Slow 10 knots. He's trying to get it out as fast as he can. He sees them compressing.
JetBlue 1060, due to wake turbulence, turn right heading 100 and maintain 2000, cancel approach clearance.
Hey man, this is the second time you guys have sent us around.
Oh, okay. So hold on. So now, you know, it spills over, right? They got another go around. They're probably looking at their fuel. It's getting a little bit low. And this is unprofessional. They shouldn't do it, but I get it. You know, the pilot is just, he keyed up the mic and he said what was on his mind. Probably shouldn't have done that, but he did. Let's see how the tower responds.
I didn't send you around. X said that's approach control. I didn't do that.
Okay, say your request again.
Right to 100, maintain 2000. You can tell that to them.
Right 100, 2000, JetBlue 1060.
Okay, so one of the things about flying into New York, all the New York, JFK, LaGuardia, is there's tons of attitude on both sides. Everybody's pressed. There's lots of tension coming in here. These air traffic controllers have an extremely hard job, but I get it from a pilot's perspective. This is the second time you've been asked to go around. We didn't plan for this, and a go-around procedure is fairly involved and complicated. And so they're coming around a second time. Everybody's said their mind. You see how it resolves, because it does. It has an interesting ending to it.
1060 contact 128.12, and you can express that to them.
2812, JetBlue 1060.
Don't yell at me, yell at them.
Approach JetBlue 1060, 2000. On the go-around.
JetBlue 1060 approach below, Kennedy altimeter 2993, expect ILS 4 right, uniform current.
We have uniform and more messages.
Hey man, this is the second time we've gone around for spacing. We're declaring minimum fuel right now, JetBlue 1060.
Okay, I'm guessing that that's the captain. Whenever you get a second voice that comes in and it's got a little disgruntled tone to it, it's probably the captain of the flight. And he's just letting approach know, hey, this is the second time, guys. We need to get on our A game here. Whatever you did last time, 2 times, don't crunch us in so tightly towards somebody. Let's see what approach says.
JetBlue 1060, I will communicate that. Understood. Maintain 210 knots. We'll get you back in as soon as possible. Turn right, heading 170.
All right, 210 on the speed, 170 heading JetBlue 1060.
Okay, this guy was real professional, real measured. I'm sure he wanted to say a couple of things to JetBlue, but he didn't. Good on him.
JetBlue 1060, heading 220. Contact final 1324.
1324, 220 heading JetBlue 1060.
So on the first go around, they gave him a great big racetrack pattern to come all the way back in and around. This time they're really going to tighten it up. Why? Because JetBlue declared min fuel. What is min fuel? It's not really an emergency, but you're telling the whole world that you're low on gas. And if you want to get priority handling for sure, you should declare an emergency. Min fuel is just saying, hey, we can't do this again. No more screwing around. We got to get in. We got to get this thing landed. So you're not an emergency. You can get priority handling. Probably the better way to do it is if you're really that low on fuel, just declare a mayday for low fuel, and then they'll get you right around. But this guy's going to take him up on it. He's going to get him around pretty quickly.
I'm fine with JetBlue 1060, 2000, 220 heading.
JetBlue 1060, you express that.
So how much fuel do these guys carry? They came all the way from Kingston, Jamaica, all the way to New York's JFK. Typically, a fuel load will look like this. I carry enough fuel to get all the way to my destination. I have enough to shoot that initial approach and to a go-around, which they did, to come back around and fly to my alternate airport, which might be some distance away, and shoot another approach there, and still, at that point, have 10% of my total fuel load still remaining. So do these guys have enough fuel to do 2 go-arounds at JFK? Yes, and that's all planned ahead of time. But they've also burned up 2 approaches and go-arounds at JFK. Now they're probably thinking, if I had to go around and go someplace else, I don't know that I got enough fuel to do that and still have a reasonable fuel reserve. So that's where the tension comes in. The pilots get a little bit tense. They get a little testy. They're going to get a nice tight pattern this time around.
Final, which runway are we expecting for JetBlue 1060?
JetBlue 1060, you can expect ILS 4 right.
Expecting ILS 4 right, JetBlue 1060.
That's the normal runway at JFK.
Yeah, approach JetBlue 1060.
JetBlue 1060, go ahead.
Thumbs.
Yeah, I don't know if you got the memo, but we're declaring minimum fuel for 2 times on a go-around for spacing.
Yes, sir, I'm getting you in right now.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so this captain's he's getting another dig in, and I get it. He wants to be heard and wants to make sure this doesn't happen for a third time. So, I understand. I think he's being proactive here. We'll see.
JetBlue 1060, turn right heading 240.
Right, 240, JetBlue 1060.
I guarantee you this time around, they're going to get this guy on the
JetBlue 1060,
runway.
turn right heading 300. JetBlue 1060, turn right heading 310.
310, JetBlue 1060.
All right, they probably cleared everybody out for miles around this guy.
JetBlue 1060, turn right heading 340.
340, JetBlue 1060.
JetBlue 1060, turn right heading 010 to 4 right, speed 160.
Alright, 010, speed 160 and you have 4 right, JetBlue 1060.
So they're slowing them down to 160 knots. That's a little on the slow side for an approach speed. It's within the parameters. Many times they'll have you maintain 180 knots to what they call the outer marker, which is just usually 4 or 5 miles off the end of the runway. Then you can slow down to your final approach speed. 160 usually is for spacing. They've got other people in front of you, but they want to get everybody slowed down at a predictable pace. It may be that JetBlue was going too fast the last couple times around, and they caught up with the traffic in front of them. Hard to say, but this time they're slowing them down way early.
JetBlue 1060 towers 19-1, you're cleared out, 4 right. Cleared out, 4 right, JetBlue 1060. Tower JetBlue 1060, island 4 right.
JetBlue 1060, Kennedy Tower 103014, runway 4 right, clear the line.
4 right, cleared line, JetBlue 1060.
JetBlue 1060, be advised, it's IFR, so my hands are tied as far as weight turbulence is concerned, so I have to take you off the approach if you go below the separation.
I understand that. We just had going around on 4 right, man. We don't have much gas here left. I was just frustrated. I'm sorry.
No, it's no problem. It's like I said, it's approach control. They do all the speeds and assign all that, so, but I'll do my best for you here and 4 right, clear the line.
All right, clear the line. And I'm sorry for yelling at you, man.
That's all good. I understand the situation.
Oh, that's nice. They made up. This is very unusual in New York. I've been in situations where words have been exchanged, and I've heard other people exchange words. I've never really heard anybody resolve it like this. These guys made up, and it's a couple of bros, and they're all tense. And at this point, they're like, "I'm sorry, all right, I mean, it won't happen again." And he explains, "My hands are tied. Once you get so close to the other airplane, I got no other recourse but to send you around." My guess is JetBlue was the one that was going too fast. They crunched the other airplane. Not sure about that, but I think that's why they slowed them down so early this time.
JetBlue 1060, you couldn't begin reduce.
We're final now, JetBlue 1060.
Okay. So at the end of this thing, it turns out they make it in on the third try around, which would get me a little exasperated. This is for all my buddies that work JFK all the time. It seems like JetBlue always gets the priority handling there at JFK. This is one of the days that they didn't get priority handling, if you know what I mean. And they had to come around for a third time. It spills over. They make up. Everybody kisses and makes up at the end. It has a good resolution. Now you know. I'm Captain Steeve. Fly safe.